During Advent, as I noted on Sunday, we're drawing our attention to all the prophecies that we find in the first readings at Mass, and then also their fulfillment in Jesus in the Gospels. Since it's truly amazing to see how words that were written hundreds, even thousands of years before Jesus' birth and ministry is fulfilled by his coming. It can only happen if God's the one who's writing these things down. Only he can write the future into the past. So today's Solemnity of the Immaculate Conception of the Blessed Virgin Mary is based upon the very first prophecy that we find in the Bible. It goes all the way back to the beginning, to the story of Adam and Eve we heard in our first reading. It was Satan, the devil, who attacked our first parents, Adam and Eve, deceiving them into choosing to eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. In disobeying God, then there was consequences that fell upon them and upon us all. We lost God's grace and his friendship, and would have to die separated from him forever. But God is a Father who loves us, and he had a plan to make right what went wrong, to heal this wound that we committed. And so God gave our first parents a glimmer of hope. And so in tonight's reading we heard, to the serpent God said, "I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your offspring and hers. He will strike at your head, while you strike at his heel." And I explained a little bit this very cryptic sounding prophecy on Sunday, that there would be a woman, it says, with the Son, and both of them will be at odds with evil, with the enemy. The enemy will appear to strike down the Son, but instead it is the enemy that will be defeated. And looking back, we know that this woman to be Mary, and the Son to be Jesus. I know you can't see it right now, but when it's light out, you can see in one of the stained glass windows the scene of the expulsion of Adam and Eve from the garden. And in that scene in the stained glass window here, and there's a similar one up at St. Peter's in Ewing, you can see up in the corner from afar a vision of the woman. That just as they have lost what God had given them, we see from afar the promised woman, Mary, the Immaculate Conception. Eve had become a friend of evil when she sinned. Mary, in order to be a woman who's at odds with evil, cannot have any sin within her. And so God the Father applied to Mary the results of Jesus' sacrifice on the cross even before he went through it, even before he was born. Before Mary was born. God can do that because he's not limited by time the way that we are. And that's why the angel Gabriel says to Mary in the gospel that she is full of grace. She is full of God's life. There is no sin within her at all. Since she would be the one to carry the sinless Jesus within her womb, God found it fitting to protect her from sin from the moment of her conception. And so we call Mary the Immaculate Conception. And so together, Mary and Jesus would defeat the enemy. The enemy would try to destroy Jesus through his death upon the cross. And from the point of view of the world, it would seem that he had succeeded. But Jesus, in turn, is victorious by rising from the dead. Mary was there at Jesus' side when it happened, and so she participated in Jesus' saving work. And that's why we can often see in statues of Mary, including the one that we have right over here, at the base of the statue, Mary is standing upon the snake, because she is the Immaculate Conception who helped Jesus crush the serpent. Eve listened to the bad angel and disobeyed God, but Mary listened to the good angel and responded in obedience. The first Eve ate the bad fruit from the tree of knowledge. Mary, in her yes, has enabled all of us to be able to eat the fruit of the tree of the cross. The fruit is the Eucharist that we receive here at Mass. Adam and Eve were forced to leave paradise, but Jesus and Mary wait for us now in the paradise of heaven. The first Eve was called the mother of all the living, but tragically brought death through her choice and that of her husband Adam. Mary, the new Eve, has become our true mother, bringing us God's life through her choice to say yes and through the action of Jesus, her Son.